The political scene in South Sudan is shifting once again. Ambrose Lomin Pitia has been officially sworn in as the first Deputy Speaker of the National Transitional Legislative Assembly. His appointment was announced by the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Jemanu Kumba. But this is not just a normal appointment. It came after a recommendation from Honorable Kuol, the acting chairperson of the SPLMIO. Kuol himself is currently waiting for a much bigger position and is expected to take over as first vice president, replacing Dr. Riek Machar, the commander-in-chief of the SPLIO. Now, the question many are asking is, why is Machar being replaced? Reports inside the government say that Dr. Riek Machar has been under house arrest for more than 5 months. No charges have been brought against him, but he remains under tight restrictions. And this has raised political tension, of course, across the country. And many citizens are wondering what will happen next. For the SPLMIO, this is a turning point. If Kuol steps into the vice presidency, it will mark the first time the party moves forward without Dr. Riek Machar at the front. Supporters of Dr. Riek Machar, however, believe is being sidelined unfairly. At the same time, the Transitional National Legislative Assembly has made another important change. Santino Majagdeng has been elected as the new clerk of parliament. He replaced Makuch. The clerk plays a powerful but quiet role. He is the one who guides MPs, members of parliament, on parliamentary rules, keeps all the official records, and manages the daily work of parliament. With this appointment, South Sudan's legislature is entering a new chapter. The big question remains, how will this change affect the peace agreement and the country's fragile political balance? Well, we have another top stories. The South Sudan Revenue Authority has announced that it collects 956 billion South Sudanese pound in just under 8 months. This is the highest revenue ever recorded in the country's history. Commissioner General Simon Akwe-Deng shared the numbers at the ceremony in Juba this week, where a new Deputy Commissioner General John Mading Bolmakoch was officially welcomed. Akwe explained how the money was collected month by month. In January, they collected 93 billions, February 77 billions, March 132 billions, on April 139 billions, May 122 billions, in June 122 billions again, in July 152 billions. Last month, in August, they collected 120 billion. He said that every month after collection, the money was handed directly to the Ministry of Finance and Planning. The Revenue Authority only keeps 9% of the fund for its own operations, while the rest of the support national expenses, including salaries. Akwe credited the success to hard work, discipline, and accountability. According to him, the authority is now being built on integrity and professionalism, values that are badly needed to stabilize South Sudan's fragile economy. But the Commissioner General also pointed to some big reforms that are still on the way. The authority is currently working on introducing a value-added tax bill, which is almost 85% complete. Akwe said that the current sale tax system is weak and lazy because it does not bring in enough money. Alongside VAT, which is value-added tax, well, the South Sudan Revenue Authority is preparing a Tax Procedures Act, TPA. This law is meant to stop double taxation, which has been a major complaint from businesses. Akwe explained it that tax should be clearly divided between the national, state, and local government. A company taxed at the national level could not face the same tax again at the state or local level. The new act, once passed, will provide a clear system that could encourage more business activity in the country. For ordinary South Sudanese, the big question is, will this record revenue actually make a difference in daily life? Will salaries be paid on time? Road repaired, school supplied, and hospital funded? For now, the number look good, but the real test will be whether citizens feel the impact in their homes and communities. Well, Dr. Machar, the first Vice President of South Sudan and leader of the SPLM-IO, has now been under house arrest for more than 5 months. Since March 26, 2025, Machar has not been free to move, travel, or attend meetings. Reports say that although he is not officially charged with any crime, every restriction has been placed on him. The government, led by Salva Kiir Mayardit, has not clearly explained why he is detained. Supporters argue that Machar is being targeted because of his political influence, while critics said his presence threatens peace and stability. Well, Machar's house arrest has shaken the peace agreement that was signed to end year of war in South Sudan. SPLM-IO, his party, is divided. Some leaders remain loyal to Machar, while others are now shifting their support to Honorable Kuol, who is expected to replace him as a first vice president. Opposition members say this is not just about Machar as a person, well, but about the balance of power in the government. Removing him may weaken the peace deal and reduce trust between political groups. Many citizens fear that without Machar, the country could return to violence because his name still carries strong support, especially among the Nuer community. The house arrest also affect national unity. South Sudan is already struggling with tribal division, economic hardship, and insecurity. People hope the peace agreement would bring stability. But keeping Machar under house arrest, send the opposite message that peace partners cannot trust each other. For ordinary people, this raises painful questions. Can South Sudan leaders work together honestly? Is the peace agreement still alive, or are we moving backward to conflict? Machar's house arrest is not just South Sudanese issues. It is also involved regional politics. Neighboring countries like Uganda and Sudan are watching closely. Some reports suggest that Uganda President Yoweri Museveni has influenced decisions around Machar detentions. The international community is also concerned. The longer Dr. Machar is held without clear charges, the more pressure will build on South Sudan government to explain its actions. So what comes next? If Kuol officially replaces Machar as first vice president, it could bring a new political order in Juba. But it could also spark anger among SPLM-IO supporters, who still see Dr. Machar as their only leader. Experts warn that if this issue is not handled carefully, It may break apart the peace agreement. It could also lead to new defections and possibly trigger fresh violence in some regions. Dr. Machar's arrest is more than just detention of one man. It represents test for South Sudan young democracy, its peace process, and the hope for millions of people who want stability. As long as he remains under our arrest, questions about justice, fairness, and political trust will continue to divide the nation. Well, thank you so much for watching today's news update. Your time and support mean a lot to us. If you found this report helpful, please remember to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more updates on South Sudan and the region. Your support helps us keep bringing you clear, honest, and timely news. Together we can build a community that values truth and information. Stay safe, stay informed, and see you in the next video.